Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. Definitely appreciate everybody joining us back for this the final afternoon session of the Dayton Startup Week and the Defense Innovation track today. Uh, Hopefully, you were able to join us this morning for two great presentations and conversations. I thought the panel discussion was very insightful and really enjoyed the discussion there. This afternoon, we're going to have talking here with a few folks that have left the Air Force to start up and to work in their own businesses. We're going to get some kind of updates from them on what they've been doing, the impacts that they've been experiencing over the last couple months, and some of their recommendations on working with the government and insights there. The panel itself is going to be led by Terry Cunningham, who goes by the call sign Hollywood. So I think once you get to see him and how he interacts with the panel, you'll be able to see why they call him Mr. Hollywood. So after this discussion, we're going to be joined by Bill Harrison later this afternoon. And then we're going to kind of end the day with the T3 Accelerator demo day, where we're going to get to see some pitches from a number of different companies, and we'll get to hear what they went through in their accelerator. So definitely stick with us for the rest of the afternoon, and we'll finish up with a networking event. One final thing before I turn it over to Terry, I encourage you to use the app. You can get onto the app, and there's a question and answer function. And so you can feel free to post your questions, and we'll respond to them here live with the event. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Terry and have him introduce the panel that's going to be talking here.
Hey, great. Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate the introduction about my call sign there. Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to thank you for taking the time to be with us here today. As Ryan mentioned, my name is Terry Cunningham. I actually work in the Air Force Tech Transition Office. I'll speak briefly about the opportunity program, or as we affectionately call it, the EOP, and then I'll get to introducing our great panelists that we have here today. So the EOP is the Entrepreneur Opportunity Program that actually began in AFRL around 2015 for our AFRL scientists and engineers. The EOP actually supports AFRL's technology transfer while providing entrepreneurialism as a viable mechanism for maturing promising AFRL technologies into commercial products that not only benefit national security, but also economic prosperity. So to date, we actually have had 5 successful entrepreneurs go through the program. However, today we're lucky to have 3 of them that we actually had last year, and they graciously decided to come back this year to give us some updates where they are in their businesses, and also share their story about actually going through the program itself. And since we are living during this unique time of the coronavirus pandemic, kind of like to get some feedback on how they are handling and the situation, and how this has actually impacted their businesses or actually possibly presented opportunities for them. So at this time, I actually like to introduce the panel. We have Joe DeMunch, AJ Rowling, and Ryan James. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. It's great to have you. It's great to see you again, even though it's virtually. Maybe next year we can do it in person. So starting with you, Joe, if you could please tell us a little bit about yourself, what you did in AFRL, your experiences actually going through the program, and any other information you would like to share with us on how your business is doing.
So my name is Joe DeMunch. I'm actually, I had 37 years at AFRL, and actually loved my entire career. When I leave the program present itself, I was like, wow, what a great opportunity. The Air Force is willing to you realize it's a lot of risk, especially if you have a family, to leave that career to start a that may or may not make any money for several years. So EOP is a great opportunity for me. My and I saw a lot of small UAVs could be done for other commercial aspects, and I focused on the agriculture system and started working with Ohio State, working with several small businesses, 3D Aerial, and Skyward. I work with those today. I see having some of the already becoming a part owner of 3D Aerial, and the Air Force looking at how to mature this technology and things like that. So that's kind of been my plan, but I do want to get to that commercial market at some point.
Great. Thank you so much, Joe. As kind of the same question, AJ, you know, kind of like what you did at AFRL, kind of your experience in going through the EOP, and just kind of anything you'd like to share with us today.
Sure, sounds good. So as you can see, I heard Hollywood was going to be, I tried to find the shirt that matched as closely as possible with what he had. I don't know, he just set such a high standard. I said, that's what I got to do. But EOP, like Joe said, really amazing opportunity. They did some nice things ahead of time before you actually joined the program, putting you through some coursework so that you've done some technology development, understood it a little bit of the business development, and then some market analysis. The thing that I would add to that that you would want to do as well is understand quite a bit about accounting, income statements, balance sheets, that sort of thing for anything you want to do with a small business. And let me go back just a little bit about me. I retired from the Air Force after 20 years as a lieutenant colonel. I got a PhD in aerospace engineering, taught at the Air Force Academy, gas turbine engine design for the last 8 years. And then I worked at AFRL for a few years as a product lead for rotating detonation engines. I saw the EOP opportunity, and I've always been interested in big opportunities like that, and put together certain things I want to try to do technology-wise, and ended up buying a business. I always wanted to be an engineer that built things, so I bought a machine shop. It's 25,000 square foot. It's got 30 CNC machines, and since then I've also purchased last year I purchased a metal finishing shop, and then with a couple of business partners now I've also got a technology firm. So the Catwood, my machine shop has 37 employees. My metal finishing shop has 3 employees, and then Nirvana Technology, my NASA project for, has five employees. So that's kind of where I am. I started the EOP about 2 years ago, and really appreciate the opportunity to provide it.
Great. Thank you so much, AJ. And I think your shirt's nicer than mine, by the way. So kind of the same question to you, Ryan. Can you give like a little bit about like what you did at AFRL, some of the experiences that you had going through the program, and kind of anything else that you would like to share with us today?
Sure, happy to. Thanks for the opportunity to be on the panel and share about the program. And it was a fantastic opportunity that I was very fortunate to be in the right place and time to take advantage of and leverage. So I was in the EOP program from 2016 to May 2018. Prior to that, I had been in the Air Force as a civilian for about 8 years. Prior to being in the Air Force, I was working in academia. So I was at the University of Cincinnati School of Medicine, working there. when I became familiar with some of the programs and work that was going on at the research, and was invited to come up and take a position with Air Force Lab to lead some of the research teams. While I was there, I was the director of neurobiology of cognitive performance. And so we were doing basic research to gain new understandings of the biology behind cognitive performance so that airmen could maintain and achieve high levels of performance and be mission ready. So the opportunity with the EO program was an opportunity to see if that worked, and body of knowledge, commercial opportunities. And so the EOP program provided a 1-year sabbatical to determine how the work that we were doing with elite airmen might be applied in the commercial healthcare space. And so that opportunity ended up leading to my eventual resignation from the Air Force to continue on with the business that I started during that time, which is adaptation.
Great. Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate you sharing that with us. Pardon me. So like one of the other questions is, I know that you gentlemen will probably be able to answer and shed some light on. Since you all have started businesses and, you know, we're living during this unique time of the coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic, how has this actually affected your businesses, your strategies? Has it even shown possible opportunities for you? I'll start with you, Joe.
Sure that I have a lot of extra opportunities that present itself from COVID. It has made a lot of the more difficult in many aspects. Personally, a very kind of guy at heart, like just drop in, you know, that part becomes, in fact, a lot of my opportunities of the sensors directorate at AFRL with some of the run to go in and talk to guys and say, this technology that's working on autonomy, I think it can be used for your program here and here, especially like for small UAV flights and those kind of, that person was much more difficult. Even this, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to be on the front of a computer screen talking to people. I like to see them and then see people's reaction as I'm sitting there. I have no idea who's even in the audience at this point. And many times, I mean, for example, I would go because you would see and you go, hey, I see how that opportunity presents itself, but if you can't really just go and talk to them, right, it's a much more text and phone calls, frankly. So still the guys that I work with on a day-to-day RL folks, different kind of environment.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. So AJ, the same question to you. I know with your manufacturing and your cat work, cat metal. So how has COVID-19 actually affected your business strategy, and has it produced opportunities?
Yeah, so COVID was a real big for us. As soon as we saw it coming around the corner, we wanted to take care of our people. So there are 3 people that had, they had some conditions that we wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. So we just pulled them out of work for 2 weeks until we had a better idea on. By the way, I had told everybody that I'd pay for 2 weeks of them to, if they felt sick or were at risk or knew somebody that was sick or came in contact with somebody that's sick, they could take that time off. The government did a great thing. So in 2008, I was building a subdivision, and as you know, 2008 was not a good year to be a big builder. So at that point in time, I lost I lost quite a bit, and the banks got bailed out. But this time around, with a payroll protection plan, the government they nailed it. They did a great job, because what ended up happening, payroll protection plan, not only was I able to pay for people for 2 weeks in case to take the time off, I also paid them hazard pay. My shop has enough separation that they could maintain the 6-foot distance, and we kept everything clean. So it slowed us down a little bit. The nice thing is mine was considered an essential business. So we were able to keep, you could tell production numbers were lower. I had to move people to night shift to try and spread out who was doing what when. But that was that was a pretty big impact to us. But I am very appreciative for the Small Business Administration and what the government for the payroll protection plan, focusing on small business.
Wow. Okay. Great. Wow. Yeah, it's very fortunate. Ryan, I'm going to ask you the same question to see how COVID-19 has actually affected your business, your strategies. Has it, provided new opportunities, if any?
So we were definitely impacted by COVID-19, and the immediate short-term impacts were overall something that we had to weather through. But the long-term opportunities for us continue to increase and look even better when we're talking outcomes and future for the business. So we are developing technologies and capabilities to provide remote patient care and health tracking. So we're looking at, can we understand and monitor the health of an individual remotely? And so during COVID, the need to do that is increasing. The recognition that we need to be integrating more digital capabilities, more remote capabilities into healthcare is increasing. And so long-term, the opportunity looks fantastic. Short-term, hospitals and other providers are really concerned about immediate needs. And so that reduced some of the opportunities that we had in some of the market opportunities that we were focused on. And so that allowed us to take a step back, kind of refocus where we wanted to move towards. And then we ended up developing and launching a new product that actually just came out in August that will help to position us as we go forward. So definitely some interruptions that we had to navigate and adjust to. Practically, we are a younger company, so a smaller team. We had been leasing a space for a period of time. We did not enter into any long-term lease. And so when that lease was up and everyone was required to mostly work remote, we decided to move completely virtual. So it facilitated our decision to go fully remote and virtual as a team, which then reduces the cost and expenses of maintaining a physical facility. It has also led to us hiring several individuals out of state to join our team, where we need to bring in unique expertise.
Wow, that's really great. You actually found some opportunity there, despite the world going through its pandemic. So that's really great. So I know all of you have probably had the idea of starting a business, and let's just say, like, I want to start a business, but I don't know what kind of questions I should be asking or information I should be finding out. So starting with you again, Ryan, can you, what kind of questions or information should I be finding out if I want to start a business?
I may suggest right away to pass on the idea of starting a business, as most people shouldn't. And it's a different path and route to go that direction. If it's something that you're really committed in doing, ultimately there should be some reason or purpose behind what you want to accomplish. So is there a problem that exists out there that you want to solve and you're passionate problem? Maybe that's bringing a new capability or technology forward. Maybe that's solving a problem that's affecting a certain patient population or customer. So once you have that idea that you want to solve, you need to determine, are there any customers that you can bring value to that are interested in your services? Because at the end of the day, to have a business, you need to be providing value in a way that's bringing revenue into the business. And if you're not meeting a need or addressing value for those customers, you won't last as a business. So identifying where you can bring value is the primary point to start if you're going to venture down that route.
Great insight. I appreciate that information. So, Joe, I kind of like to get your perspective on that. You're wanting to start a business, but like, what kind of questions should be asked or information found out?
I don't know about exactly what questions. First of all, you definitely have to be passionate. You cannot be someone that just decides, oh, I'd like to see if this business thing works. Now, I will say that for us, I think the EOP was an incredible opportunity. Only the steps that they went through, and I think the same today, is you have to first of all say, hey, business and kind of, is there a business here? That has to get vetted through a panel, and that panel is your first step. And I think several people have not been through that. So that they said, hey, we don't. And after what things I really loved about the program was it had fantastic mentor. Literature and a program AFRL, I never had to worry about, is there a value of this company? Is there a commercial market? What commercial market? Is there a commercial market to justify starting a business, and how quickly can you get that ramped up? There are some shortfalls, like AJ. Not a lot of, at least for me, there was not a lot of jumping in those day-to-day aspects of a business, but it absolutely gave me a good year to vet what kind of pivots do I need to do to make this a more viable business, and a business plan, which is all things that are extremely important that I ever had to do at AFRL. I mean, I had customers at AFRL, but we moved on. When that technology fails, you've got to, as all of us know. So that's kind of my perspective on it.
Great, thank you for that. I appreciate that, Joe. So AJ, what's your take on that? Like, what kind of questions and information should be gathering and asked?
Yeah, so reading, going to the library, and I got the big book of business, and definitely spent a lot of time studying a bunch of different things. If you're going to buy a business, hire a business broker. Make sure you know how to read income statement, balance sheets, look back 3 years, sit down with an accountant, all that kind of stuff. That's just kind of my perspective from the business that I'm running. The EOP used the Wendy Kennedy was the way that she presented how to bring a technology to a business plan. That was really good. There's a variety of different ways to skin a cat in terms of building a business plan based on what your technology is. There's a lot of grants out there for if you want to try and do certain things. With the NASA project I'm doing right now, it's with I'm the principal lead on it, but I'm working with the University of Central Florida, and we're doing it's called a digital twin. It's a way of doing a control system, but NASA provides some funding to go and do the market analysis. So that's anytime that you can find opportunities to take advantage of monies that are available to make things happen. what happens is the U.S. wants us to be successful, right? And so people that are willing to go out and work hard and figure out how to make things happen, there are resources. There are resources to help that out. Montgomery County has a lot of resources, so it's kind of tough to network when in the time of COVID, but certainly reaching out and finding out what people are out there. They want to help you. Another big one, PTAC is a big one, and SBA also has a lot of support. So depending on what you're trying to do, don't try and do it by yourself. I guess that'd be my my advice for that one.
Terry, I would add one thing onto that for that question. Another important thing to consider is how much time could you, how much time would you have to devote fully to determine whether or not this opportunity is worth proceeding with? Is this something dedicate, 10 hours every week, 20 hours every week, and you can do that part-time as kind of a side hustle during your day job? Or is this something where you have to fully jump in and be full-time and be completely focused on it to truly evaluate the opportunity? And that was what was so unique and incredibly valuable about the Entrepreneurial Opportunities Program. Each of us were provided a 12-month sabbatical to fully vet and consider that opportunity before making a decision to resign from our current position and go all in with the business. And so that was one of the things that each of us was very unique and fortunate to receive, was a 12-month runway to investigate, explore, and determine if this was an opportunity that is worth making a professional bet on.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. Go ahead, Joe.
So there's and I look at us, particularly three people, for example, is this opportunity was something that is not a cookie cutter kind of, all of us have our own different experiences. Our businesses are probably very different. I mean, I look at AJ kind of jumped into all in a whole new business. Ryan from scratch. And I mean, I have the utmost respect for all these people. And I look at people like Jeff Graley, even of Mile 2. I don't know if he's on, but ton of respect. I talked to him early when first left. And for especially the younger people, I'm not one of them, there's a big risk for doing this. Most businesses fail. I mean, I'm a little bit unique. I actually retired from the Air Force, so I have a pretty big safety net right behind me, but even mine a little different than them. I have a market, but I can't have the pay for most of my research, and I'm planning on actually jumping other business to get this goal done instead of being the owner of a business. I found it and I didn't want to pay. So that guys know your employees, a lot of other things that I never even considered. Every time you have an employee, there's a lot of aspects to that. But I love the opportunity. I thought it was a great opportunity, and I think right here are three successful people, and I could look at others, people like Jeff Graley, as everyone knows, growing a business like crazy. I would consider him even a precursor to the EOP. You're making big progress on new businesses just through this program, and I think it's great.
Yeah, that is some great stuff there, Joe. So continuing on with that just a little bit. So when you went through the EOP, like, I know some of you mentioned Wendy Kennedy, but like, what other resources did you use?
Very heavily, and I have I consider some of the folks that I had as my advisors or mentors. I consider Bill Harris as being one of those. Scott Korndike, both of those guys, I have tons of respect. Even Ryan Hellbach, I consider a mentor, much junior to me, but the resources that I got were invaluable. And the contacts that you got out of people, and going through the entrepreneurial center on programs. So I don't even think I ever heard of the program, the facility before I even started the works and early riser, these little organizations that are just very valuable on how to get this business going, having people look at the business plan and the valuations of these things. Sent me off to training, as AJ mentioned. I took some Clark State classes in agriculture, which I'm not a farmer, I'm a technologist. Those kind of things very valuable to me. So I don't know if that answers.
It does. It does. So AJ, like when you were going through the sabbatical, so what other resources did you actually use?
Sure. So Jordan Rowe at the Entrepreneurial Center is the one that walked me through the Wendy Kennedy. We spent quite a bit of time on it. That was very helpful. There was also some other things through the Entrepreneurial Center for grants, specifically. I think it was mainly for the Dayton area. May have been for Ohio, but anyhow, some opportunities for doing some things there. Those are certainly things that were very helpful. Since then, I've also gone to a lot of different things, different, like Ohio Means Jobs. They set up conferences. I've gone to DOE conferences, any conference you can go to where it's a business meetup or they're looking for small business. The departments, actually anywhere you look, small business has the terminology is set asides, right? So they've got a quota they've got to meet in terms of type of business they're doing with small business. And so there's a lot of opportunity out there. Like I said, PTAC, I've been working with Bill Cox is his name. PTAC is something that can help you if you haven't done federal work before. They can help with that. Bill Harris, of course, has always been very helpful from the beginning all the way through. And there are a lot of people. There are a lot of small business contacts, either with AFRL, AFL-CIMC. There's a lot of people that really want to find a way to make it so that you can do this with the government, or a lot of my business, of course, is with tier 1 suppliers. And even with those, disabled, veteran-owned small business, they have requirements to provide business opportunities for my business. So there's a lot out there. But the EOP program, just having that opportunity, it was a little bit of a right brain kind of work compared to the side with the left brain work, but helped to bring it all to put together a business plan. And that was very helpful.
Okay, great. Thank you. So Ryan, I'm sure you can imagine what I'm going to ask you. What kind of resources did you use?
Guess, yeah. Yeah. So I leverage all the resources. That I could. And so starting in the EOP program, I had support from Wright Brothers Institute and the Entrepreneur Center. I used the library a lot. I took courses and learned online. I participated in Dayton Startup Week and Cincinnati Startup Week. I talked with others. I took a Ocean business course And I also participated in a Fed Tech Accelerator in DC to talk about transferring DoD technology to the commercial space. And so all of that helped provide a very rich experience during the EOP program.
Great, thank you so much. Appreciate that. So let's see. Start with you, AJ. Can you tell us about some of the pains and gains of EOP?
I'm sorry, can you just repeat that one more time?
Yeah, sure. Can you tell us about some of the pains and gains that I've actually gone through the program?
The program, the time compression of what the program was, that seems like almost happy days, because you've got a safety net there where you're continuing to get your salary while you're investigating this opportunity. The big pains gains have been when you're flying solo, right? So you've already jumped out of the plane and you're quickly trying to knit together that parachute on your way down. That just felt like a little bit with big business. You got a lot of people you got to take care of. You're responsible for them. They're counting on you for their paychecks. Like I said, I got 45 families that I feel responsible for. And so, the EOP, if you've got the opportunity to do it, take it seriously as much as you can crunch to get ready for reality. When reality hits, there's no way around it, especially, there's no way around it. For me, it's at least 7 hours a week. I try to maintain some balance. I coach my daughter's soccer team, and I eat meals at home with the wife and daughter. But for the most part, I'm at work trying to figure out how to make things work better. And the whole point of that is you're between being a business owner and somebody that's getting an income is when you're getting an income, you're not necessarily building your asset. And so a business is an asset, and that's really how you develop wealth. And I don't think anybody, you got to understand part of the incentive there is to become wealthy. And the idea for me trying to do it is I wanted to be an engineer that built things. I wanted to be able to do the development and then actually build it. And that valley of death, I thought, hey, you know what, if I can do one and the other, everything in between. And oh, by the way, if I'm producing enough money, I can finance my own projects. And that's why I did it, and that's why it's starting to happen. So if you see something impossible out there and think, yeah, why not? Let's give it a shot. That's how you make it happen.
Awesome, thank you. I noticed that you actually talked about, Balancing Act, and actually kind of one of the questions kind of came in is like, in your mind, what would be the correct balance between learning and doing?
Depends on what kind of a learner you are, right? So doing, for me, I'm learning. I think I bought the shop before I started EOP. I got permission to do that. You can own a business even while you're working, but I bought the shop before I started EOP because I knew, hey, you know what? Let's put it all on the line because I'm going to make it work no matter what. And you find a way to make it work. So I don't know if that answers, but that's what I got.
That's great, thank you. So Ryan, I actually have a question for you. Since you spent some time, one of the questions kind of is, what market need inspired you to join the program? And how has that evolved since you left the Air Force? I think you're actually muted right now.
Thank you. I had a dog barking earlier, so I wanted to silence that while other folks were speaking. And so the question was, what inspired me to join the EOP, and how did that change over time? Is that what you were asking, Terry?
Yes, that is correct.
Great. So I'm a scientist, so I'm a physiologist, and my whole career is on understanding biology and applying that in ways that we can improve health. So when I came to the Air Force, I had a lot of previous experience in medicine and health. The new thing that I got exposed to was engineering, technology, and sensors. And so now I got exposed to new ways in which we could capture information about the body, process data, and then translate that into information that could be utilized for making decisions. I was excited about how that could be. So we were using that on the Air Force Research Lab for airmen, special forces, high performance athletes. That's where that was being applied. I saw that this could be applied in meaningful ways to unique patient populations that were struggling to understand and manage their own personal health. And so during the EOP sabbatical, I looked at the commercial space to see where the opportunities were and see what problems could be addressed by the technology that I was working on. And within that, the need that came out really was within autoimmune disease. And so within immune disease, individuals go an average of 5 years before they reach a diagnosis. They understand that something's wrong with their body. They're going to doctors, they're going to specialists, yet they're not getting effective or answers to what's going on. And that population is where I and the rest of the adaptation team became really excited about solving problems in that space, because we could see the impactful value that could be brought to help people in those situations. And that's focused on today. How can we identify and help solve complex conditions so that people that are underserved right now by healthcare and medicine are able to get better sooner?
Great, thank you so much. Looks like we have time for another question. So Joe, this will actually be to you. So if you could give any potential EOP candidate any piece of advice, what would it be as it pertains to and going through the EOP, include your own personal experiences?
Is that me?
What was that, Joe?
Yes, Joe, that's directed to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I came in and checked the computer while you were sitting there, so that's why I think the picture with the UAV showed up for a short time. But anyhow, I thought a wonderful opportunity. I will say there's one in my experience, but I don't think that's one's experience. As my particular management was, so it would have been the own fault EOP. But if you do go in, and I've talked to several candidates that call me periodically, and I love to talk to them, is allows you to not do a full business, because that's a different thing when you actually jump up safety net. But it does allow you to investigate business here. What is the view of that business? You just meet mentors, like I mentioned, that have in this. And of course, WBI was a resource. What resources are available to you so that before you do take that massive step, and that is going to a highly decent paid engineer, whatever at AFRL, to nothing, or in my case, I got retirement, but that's a step you need to think about very seriously, and EOP gives you that opportunity to really vet it with a lot of other expertise. So I found it a wonderful experience. I think everyone found it as a wonderful experience. I think it is an experience that set you up for success. It does set you up for success.
Great, thank you. AJ, same question. So what kind of, advice would you actually give any potential EUP candidate, you know, to include some of your own personal experiences?
Sure. So the reason that I'm on here and my partner is because we're paying it forward. We really appreciate the opportunity that it gave us. We took it very seriously and are trying to make a difference. Several of the outcomes that were desired, technology transit, being able to support the community, get jobs in the community, and so I'm working hard on all. I know these guys are too. I'm glad that Joe mentioned WBI. I forgot it did such a great job in terms of how market analysis helped me to realize where the technology I was working on, where it could go. So that was useful. The advice would be recognize it for what it is. I think the culture understands now, especially at the high levels, they understand this is almost in certain ways bigger than the Air Force because it's about the whole community and what we were to do. So I do have to say my appreciation for my branch chief, Lieutenant Colonel Andrus. At one point, he said, "You know what? You just got to go do this." So I was hesitant, and he do it. My director, Chuck Cross, was supportive on it as well. Every little bit skeptical at first, but that's okay. For me, it's they made the right decision, and hopefully they're seeing some of that now, and then able to do more and more with the R&D and bring those projects to commercialization. I just want to prove that you guys put an investment in, and it was well. That's my advice.
Great, thank you so much. And as time winds down here for our panel session, and do you have any thoughts for us?
Oh, are there new candidates in the EOP program? Also, I want to say before we run out of time with our session today, that Air Force is ahead of the curve and really leading the way with programs like this. So when I was out in DC in the FedTech program, which had individuals from different military branches represented, the EOP program was the first of its kind, and other branches were looking to the Air Force to consider and implement things like that. The EOP program is a great term for folks inside the Air Force, but in addition to that, there's also programs like the small business grants to the SBIR programs, which are providing fund opportunities for companies. And so these are grant opportunities for companies that are doing things that both have a military and commercial purpose. And they're doing this because this is a way to fund new startups that have great ideas that traditionally haven't been connected with the government before. And so I just wanted to share that again, that the Air Force is leading the way in a lot of these areas, and it's exciting to see they're making happen.
Great, thank you so much, Ryan. I greatly appreciate that. And I guess we'll just to wrap this up. So, Joe, do you have any final thoughts?
Anyone that does have any interest in the EOP, I highly recommend them talking to you. I think it is a wonderful opportunity to at least vet an initial business plan. There are lots of people, myself included, these guys, that have always considered starting your own company, but as we've all mentioned, there's a lot of risk to that too. So, but great program.
Great, thank you for that, Joe. I greatly appreciate that. And to you, Joe, to you, AJ, and to you, Ryan, it's great to actually catch back up with you. It's great to see that you guys are just striving and moving forward. So it's great. Next year, we'll be able to do this in person and not have to do it virtually. But
Let's
you know,
all
time will
stand
tell.
on the same shirt.
Yeah, but again, I just want to thank all three of you gentlemen for your time. I know you guys are extremely busy, and and I just truly, truly greatly appreciate all your time and everything that you're doing for our national security and economic prosperity. It's truly great for what all three of you are doing, and I'm glad to see all three of you are succeeding. So it's great. Let's
Thank you.
see.
Thanks a
And
lot.
you're welcome. And it looks like we're actually going to have a break, but we will be back at 2 p.m. with Bill Harrison at the end. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on our Entrepreneur Opportunity Program session. It was great, so thank you so much.